Hello there YouTubians, and I apologise that it's been a while since I last made a video, but quite frankly I've been doing more interesting things, and YouTube's been a little bit dead recently. However, I'm going to make a video on a debate in contemporary philosophy of mind, specifically in the area of perception. It's the debate about the transparency of experience. A debate between the Qualia theorists on the one hand, who deny it, and the representationalists and hardline intentionalists on the other, who accept this claim. Before I can get into where much of the battle is actually fought, I need to outline where the two opposing views stand. It can be a little tricky, but I think once you have it, it's simple enough. Now, a Qualia theorist, to call someone a Qualia theorist is to say that, I mean, it's usually taken to be the case that Qualia is phenomenal content. It's the what it's like, it's the characteristic of our subjective experience, it's the isness of things, but I will not be using that more general notion in these series, because it also has a much more technical use, which is, as we will see, denoting a specific claim about the structure of experience. Okay, so what is Qualia theory then? Well, the Qualia theorists want to explain experience. They want to say that the fundamental structure of experience is that what we become aware of are specific entities, specific quale. Right. This is taken further by the Qualia theorists, and they want to claim that there are intrinsic, non-relational properties of our own experience of which we can become directly aware. So that's a metaphysical claim about the existence of a particular entity, and an epistemological claim about our direct awareness of them. So, the relational theorist, on the other hand, or the representationalist, wants to say there are no such entities, or if there are, we cannot become aware of them. He wants to explain the fundamental structure of experience as a subject's relation to a propositional attitude. A subject's relation to a proposition, much in the way that beliefs, desires, and intentions are commonly explained in folk psychology. That's what the intentionalist wants to do. So, the Qualia theorist usually argues his point phenomenologically by using the what it's like kind of claims, and arguing that the representationalist fails to capture this in his merely relational theory. So the debate tends to happen over an argument known as the transparency of experience. The transparency of experience is a claim which the functionalist or the representationalist and the hardline intentionalist will accept. They'll accept that our experiences are transparent, whereas the Qualia theorists deny it. The transparency claim can be thought of as a little bit like this. If I were to accept the transparency of experience, I would say that if the mind is a canvas, I cannot become aware of the paint. I can only become aware of the representation. The Qualia theorist wants to say, no, we can become aware of these intrinsic properties of our experience. But if the mind is a canvas, in my opinion, we can't know the paint. So the transparency of experience is one claim that I accept. The Qualia theorist usually argues against it and says, no, we obviously are aware of certain properties of our subjective experience, and we're directly aware of them. Not only are they properties, but they're intrinsic, non-relational properties which can't be defined by these functional relations. So, the transparency of experience debate goes back and forward between the qualia realists who want to deny it and the functionalists who want to accept it. Now, I will leave the debate there. I could go into more detail, but I'll leave an open question between the difference of relational and non-relational experience. Hallucinatory and non-hallucinatory experience. So, if this was a claim put forward by the qualia realists, which I don't think the representationalists can quite answer, but there is another view I'll be exploring next week which may be able to. Right. So, the what it's likeness in perception cannot be accounted for is a very general claim. A more specific claim would be about the so-called phenomenal sameness of both the veridical, that's the actual perception of a real object, and the hallucinatory experience. Now, because the representationalists want to say that phenomenal content is defined entirely, phenomenal feel is defined entirely by the content, they struggle to account for phenomenal sameness between the hallucinatory and the veridical experience. The qualia theorist wants to say, look, in both cases what you're aware of is the qualia. The representationalist, he's forced with a few options, none of which are very attractive. He can posit the existence of something called an intentional object in the way that Harman does, or he can opt out of it slightly more conveniently by saying what we're aware of is real properties when we hallucinate, even though they may be arranged in a way that doesn't fit reality. However, what he still fails to account for is, let's say there's an object out there that I'm not sure whether it's I'm really perceiving it or it's a mere hallucination, because the representationalist wants to say that it's defined entirely in my experience is defined entirely in terms of my relation to that object. Then he cannot count for any reason whatsoever why a hallucination would be different from why a hallucination should seem to be the same as a real experience itself. So this forces him somewhat into a corner, and I think I'm going to leave it there. I apologise if I've repeated myself, missed over vastly important issues, but hey, no one's perfect. So I'll catch you guys in a bit.